Have you seen these insanely cheap gaming monitors on Amazon and such? Like these almost too good to be true deals where you can get a 165Hz gaming monitor for like $100 or so, sometimes for even less? These gotta be bad, right? Or at the very least, not as good of a deal as they seem to be. Well, at least one of them is actually pretty good. I recently tested this monitor right here, the Koorui H24T09P, and this actually is an insanely good monitor for its price. Like if you're a bit lucky, you can get it for just slightly over $100 US, which is kind of a steal. I mean, the gaming experience you're getting on this cheap monitor really is not that far off from monitors that cost almost twice as much. However, it's not perfect. For just over $100, it's terrific, but it struggles with color accuracy and the response times also could be faster. And that got me thinking, perhaps I can find an even better monitor in this price range. So after digging through the web, I got these two that seem to be the most promising candidates. On one side, we have the KTC H24T09P, and I've selected this one specifically because of the experience I've had with other monitors from KTC. I've tested 3 of them so far, and all of them were great, if not insane value for money, so I have high hopes for this one. I've seen it for as low as $90 US after a $30 coupon, which is kinda hard to comprehend. Like, that's insane for a 165Hz IPS monitor. Of course, I've got international links for all these monitors in the video description, in case you want to check the current pricing in your region or buy something. Now, I also wanted to see what the more established brands had to offer, and my eyes fell on this monitor by MSI. This is the G2412, which is the updated version of the G24-1. I've reviewed the original G24-1 and I quite liked it, so this should be a promising candidate as well. Also, it's great to see that the updated version now is even more affordable and can compete with the low prices of brands like Koorui and KTC. So let's put them side by side. Spec-wise, they could hardly be more similar. All of them are 24-inch 1080p monitors, and all of them are using IPS panels. Now, what's immediately clear when looking at them side by side is that the same image is looking quite different on all 3 monitors. All of them are on their default settings and at their max brightness right now. And yeah, the brightness difference is probably the most obvious difference between them. But they also have pretty different white points with different color temperatures and color tints. That's even more obvious when looking at a 100% white image. The Koorui on the left has the most accurate white point, and both the MSI and KTC are super far off, as the high delta E values confirm. It's not that big of a deal, as you can adjust the white point on the KTC and MSI pretty easily. However, you can't do anything about a low maximum brightness. And when it comes to maximum brightness, the Koorui just can't keep up. To keep it fair, these brightness numbers already compensate for the different white points and represent the maximum these monitors can achieve at the same D65 white point. So the MSI G2412 seems like the winner here, at least when you don't mind adjusting the white point yourself. However, watch what happens when we put these monitors on the lowest brightness setting. The MSI clearly is the brightest again, which in this context is not good at all. If you want to use your monitor in a dark room, 122 nits are just way too bright. But the other 2 are doing a great job and won't burn your eyes out at night. So yeah, it's kinda hard to pick a clear winner here. So let's see what happens when we level the playing field and adjust all of them to the same brightness and white point. The KTC and MSI now look remarkably similar. The Koorui H24T09P, however, does not look like the other 2. Like in this scene on the Koorui, the rocks have a clear magenta tint, and the blue tones in the sky and the water look totally off as well. So what exactly is going on here? Well, both the KTC and MSI don't have pinpoint accurate colors without proper calibration and profiling, but they generally put colors at the correct use, meaning red tones, for example, look red, and not orange and not magenta. So we measure relatively low delta H values that back up these observations. The Koorui, however, has a much higher delta H, so the actual color hues are all over the place, which is the reason the colors look off next to the other monitors. It's hard to decide whether the KTC or the MSI has the better image quality, but it's pretty clear that the Koorui H24T09P is way behind. Now let's focus on the KTC and MSI for a bit. They're close, but I slightly prefer the colors on the KTC. Kinda hard to pick up from the camera footage, but colors pop just a bit more on the KTC than on the MSI. Reason for that is the larger color gamut volume of the KTC. And its overall color accuracy is also slightly better. The full color accuracy results of the KTC are available as a free post on my Patreon, by the way, link in the video description. Now, even though I prefer the colors of the KTC, Sometimes the image just looks better on the MSI. Have a close look at these super dark scenes, for example. If you're watching this video on a somewhat decent display, you're probably gonna notice that the black areas look less like a deep black and more grayish on the KTC monitor on the left than on the MSI. And yeah, when we measure the contrast ratio, the MSI almost reaches 1500:1, whereas the KTC scores a below average contrast ratio of 825:1. So it's really no surprise that dark scenes look better on the MSI. This makes watching movies or a good cinematic TV show more enjoyable on the MSI, but this really is something you're only gonna notice in darker scenes. And without pixel peeping and a direct comparison to a higher contrast panel, both the Koorui and the KTC really don't look too bad either. So who's the winner when it comes to image quality? I'd say it's actually a tie between the KTC and MSI, as both have some things going for them. At the very least, both are superior to the Koorui, so that's a partial success already. But yeah, these are gaming monitors, so the image quality isn't the only thing that matters. I also played a lot of FPS games on all three monitors, and I can comfortably say that you can definitely have fun with all of them, even in more competitive games like Valorant or CS. Even super cheap IPS monitors these days can be pretty fast, and monitor manufacturers usually don't screw up the display lag. So gaming feels very responsive on each of these monitors, and the data backs that up as well. Each of these monitors just measures 0.1 milliseconds of processing lag, so they're virtually lag-free. However, I still have a favorite monitor for gaming out of these three, the KTC H24T09P, and I prefer it over the others because of its faster response times. We're getting an average response time of just 5.3 milliseconds, which can actually compete with the best 165Hz monitors. That's pretty insane, given how affordable this monitor is. The MSI is a good 2 milliseconds slower on average, and the Koorui adds another millisecond. And side by side, you can actually see that the KTC is a good bit faster than the other two. Especially the UFO in the middle track shows less ghosting. If I had to rank these, I'd put the KTC first, followed by the Koorui, and then the MSI. Visually, the MSI G2412 is the slowest of the bunch, but this still isn't a bad monitor for gaming by any means. The KTC is just super fast and actually way faster than you would expect an ultra budget monitor to be. I have to say that I'm really impressed by these cheap gaming monitors. Goes to show that you really don't need to spend much these days to have a great gaming experience. And a good image quality on top of that. However, this doesn't mean that every of these super cheap gaming monitors you find online will be good. There's still a lot of listings for monitors with TN panels in this price segment, which I really wouldn't recommend buying for most people. I'd say get one of these three, make sure you get it at a good price, and also plan in some money for a decent monitor arm. Because yeah, as good as the displays are, the stands on each of these monitors really are not. They offer almost no adjustability and are all way too low. So do your neck a favor, get a nice monitor arm, and you have a great monitor setup on a budget. I'm gonna link the individual reviews of the Koorui and MSI on screen right now in case you wanna know all the details. And the full measurement results for the KTC, including the settings recommendations and ICC profile, are available as a public post on my Patreon. So you don't need to be a Patreon to see those. Thanks for watching, bis zum nächsten Video.